Vanished for millennia, the deadly humans return to save us all. Grand Archon Zilara of the Galactic Confederation stood before the Emergency Council, her luminescent skin pulsing with stress patterns that no translation matrix could fully interpret. The chamber, designed to accommodate representatives from over 7,000 member species, was eerily empty. More than half the Confederation's worlds had fallen silent in the past standard year. "The void corruption has breached the Cygnus defensive perimeter," she announced, her voice amplified throughout the vast chamber. "Projections indicate total galactic infection within 3 standard years, with no possibility of evacuation to neighboring galaxies." The assembled representatives, some physically present, others attending as quantum projections from their besieged worlds, responded with a wave of despair that manifested as a tangible psychic pressure in the chamber. "The Confederation has existed for 12,000 years, continued Zilara. "We have overcome plagues, resource wars, and even a gamma-ray burst that sterilized an entire sector. But this defies all technological solutions. The void does not merely kill, it unmakes. It converts matter and energy into something that no longer adheres to the laws of physics as we understand them." Elder Kraustor of the Volcran meritocracy raised a gnarled appendage. "Grand Archon, the historical archives speak of another threat that once nearly consumed the galaxy. Before the Confederation, before our ancestors achieved spaceflight, the archives speak of humans." A disturbed murmur spread through the chamber. Most species knew of humans only through ancient warnings and fragmentary historical records. Some believed they were merely allegories invented to frighten developing civilizations, not an actual species that had once existed. "The humans are gone," Elder Zilara responded carefully. "They vanished 11,000 years ago, taking their violence and their unpredictability with them. And for that, the galaxy has been grateful. But what if they didn't vanish entirely?" persisted Kraustor. "The oldest archives suggest they were not destroyed, but rather quarantined themselves, sealed away their worlds and their knowledge when they realized what they were capable of." Before Zilara could dismiss this line of discussion, the chamber's central holographic projector activated without authorization. A signal was overriding the most secure communication system in the galaxy. The image that formed was of a biped A-species configuration, rare among the Confederation's members. Its form was unsettlingly symmetrical, with 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head positioned atop its body rather than centrally located for better protection. Its skin appeared to contain no bioluminescence, photosynthetic capabilities, or defensive structures. By all biological metrics, it appeared vulnerable and primitive. Yet something about it triggered ancient recognition patterns in the assembled representatives. Warning hormones and defensive pheromones permeated the chamber. "Greetings, Galactic Confederation." The biped spoke in perfect standard, its mouth moving in ways that seemed both efficient and predatory. "I am Admiral Helena Reyes of the United Earth Defense Force. We have observed the spread of what you call the void corruption from our secluded position. We believe we can help." Zilara's senior security coordinator frantically signaled that the transmission could not be blocked or traced. "Humans," Zilara finally managed to say, "you've been watching us all this time?" The human's facial features rearranged in what many historic xenobiologists had classified as a smile, a gesture that, depending on context, could signal either peaceful intentions or predatory anticipation. "We never left entirely, Grand Archon," Admiral Reyes replied. 11,000 years ago, humanity reached a crossroads. Our technology and our unique neural architecture gave us capabilities that even we found frightening. We recognized that our continued expansion might pose an existential threat to all life in the galaxy, including ourselves. The image zoomed out to show more humans standing in what appeared to be a command center, surrounded by technology that defied Confederation classification protocols. So we made a choice, the Admiral continued. The majority of humanity entered voluntary quarantine in a pocket dimension, a space we created adjacent to, but separate from, standard reality. We've continued to evolve, to develop, and to watch. A small contingent remained in normal space, disguised, observing and ensuring our quarantine remained intact. Elder Krastor's voice quavered as he spoke. The histories say humans were dangerous beyond measure, that your species nearly exterminated itself multiple times before achieving spaceflight, that you could adapt to any threat with terrifying speed. The Admiral's expression shifted to something unreadable. Yes, that adaptability is precisely why we quarantined ourselves. And it's precisely why we can fight the void corruption when your technologies cannot. A second holographic display activated, showing an enormous vessel emerging from what appeared to be a tear in the fabric of space itself. Its design bore no resemblance to any known Confederation aesthetic, all hard angles and exposed structural elements, without the flowing biologically inspired forms preferred by most spacefaring species. The void corruption is not entirely unknown to us, Admiral Reyes explained. In our history, we called it by different names: the Great Filter, the Dark Energy Cascade, the Unraveling. Our scientists theorized its existence millennia ago as an eventual threat to all complex life. In our pocket dimension, we've spent thousands of years preparing for it, knowing it would eventually emerge in normal space. Zilara struggled to process what she was hearing. You're saying you quarantined yourselves, not just to protect us from you, but to protect us all from this? Not initially, the Admiral admitted. Our quarantine began as an act of responsibility recognition that humanity's path might lead to destruction. But over time, as our understanding of the universe deepened, we recognized larger threats. The void corruption can only be fought from outside conventional physics. From the place we've been living, more vessels were emerging from the dimensional tier, dozens, then hundreds, then thousands. Each massive ship bristled with technologies unknown to the Confederation. "We need your permission, Grand Archon," said Admiral Reyes. "After all this time, we will not simply impose our presence on the galaxy again. But we can fight this enemy. Our technology, our perspective from beyond conventional space-time, and yes, our adaptability, our capacity for violence, when necessary, these are the tools needed to combat the void." The council chamber erupted in overlapping voices and chemical signals as representatives debated furiously. Some argued that extinction by the void corruption was preferable to allowing humans back into the galaxy. Others insisted that any chance of survival must be embraced, regardless of ancient fears. Zilara raised all four of her primary limbs, calling for silence. When the chamber quieted, she addressed the human admiral directly. "The archives tell us that humans were unpredictable, violent, and nearly destroyed themselves many times. But they also speak of your creativity, your tenacity, and your capacity for self-sacrifice." She paused, the weight of 12,000 years of civilization resting on her next words. "The threat we face offers no path to survival. You offer a possibility, however uncertain." The Grand Archon's skin rippled through a complex pattern that conveyed her formal decision even before her words did. "Return to our reality, humans. Help us fight this void. Show us that the species that once terrified the galaxy has truly evolved into something more." Admiral Reyes nodded solemnly. "We've changed in many ways, Grand Archon, but not in our determination to overcome impossible odds." As the human fleet fully materialized in normal space, species across the Confederation watched with mingled terror and hope. The deadly humans, the beings of legend and cautionary tales, had returned after millennia of self-imposed exile. Whether their return heralded salvation or merely a different kind of destruction remained to be seen. But as the first human vessels engaged the void corruption at the Cygnus perimeter, pushing it back for the first time since its appearance, one truth became undeniable. The galaxy's most feared species had returned not as conquerors, but as guardians.